Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, fantasy troops? My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always, and it is the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, what is it?
Officially, it's Thanksgiving.
Whoa!
Eat as much turkey as you would like.
Yep.
And watch as much football as you would like.
Yep.
And get as fat as you would like.
Yep.
Great day.
It's honestly, it's good.
It's totally America.
It really is.
Gluttonize yourself until you fall asleep watching football. A sport
4th
that
of July,
no one
like,
watches around the world.
Right. 4th of July is the celebration of America, but Thanksgiving is kind of the real
4th of July, you got to
America.
look good. You know what I mean? If you lose weight, get yourself ready for the summer. You got to look good in those shorts and t-shirts.
Right.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, if you're in the north, you're bundled.
Right.
Cover that crap up. Eat as much as you want.
You watch football literally all day.
All day long. So, great holiday. Quickly, Rick, because we got a lot to get to in this episode.
Okay.
I want you to rank your 3 favorite holidays.
Oh. I feel super basic
Okay.
saying my 3 favorite holidays, but I'll go 4th of July 3,
Okay.
Thanksgiving 2, Christmas 1.
All right. I got 4th of July 3, Christmas 2, Thanksgiving 1.
Okay. So pretty much the same. I feel like we're pretty basic though.
Yeah, that's basic. I mean, who says Easter?
Right. I mean, I used to love Easter when I was little.
That's true.
Maybe throw out a wild card like St. Patrick's Day or something. But don't really do anything.
All right, he'll love St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, we're going to give you a massive Thanksgiving game preview and walk through all 3 games on Thanksgiving and discuss the player matchups, whether we're comfortable starting guys or not, and give you a preview into each game, and then we'll pick after each game the winner.
Yep, and who to gamble on.
Yeah. Which line to pick? Rick can take that because I can't gamble in the good old state of Massachusetts.
Oh, but I can in New Hampshire.
Yes, you can. But anyway, before we do that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
Happy Thanksgiving, dude.
Thanksgiving. All right, let's get to the turkey and potatoes.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. Hey. So game 1, I believe, is at 1:00. Is that correct?
I think it's earlier, isn't it? Like
12:30?
12 usually.
Yeah.
12:30.
Either way, whenever it starts, the Bills are traveling to Detroit, and by I mean traveling, just going back to where they were last week. Did they stay?
Right, they're
in
not
town?
even moving. I don't think.
Did they stay in town? I would imagine.
Yeah,
right.
I
4
think they're
days.
staying in
4
town,
days. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's why. The NFL, man, they're a bunch of dirtbags. The Bills are one of the best organizations in football, and they're like, well, let's give it to them a little easy. We'll put their game after the Giants. We'll move their snow game where they're supposed to be an organization that digs themselves out and plays in the snow, and move that game to Detroit because we can't have this situation. We can't have the Bills being playing in tough weather, and then they go to Detroit. Who they're playing in 4 days.
A Bills fan would say, why didn't you decide it sooner so they could go down even earlier so they could actually practice in the week? Because they didn't get to practice.
Is that the argument
they got there?
Is that the argument you're presenting?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But then on Sunday, they apparently came out really flat in the first half.
Yeah.
And Bills fans were blaming it on that and hating on the NFL. Mm-hmm. For making them do it last second.
Wild. But anyway, the Bills are playing the Detroit Lions. Josh Allen still hasn't been his normal spectacular self, even though the Bills got the win on Sunday. Lions coming in on a 3-game win streak.
Uh-oh.
Might be a little bit more to handle for the Bills than they expect. Bills by 1,000. All right, let's talk about the Bills roster. Josh Allen, QB1. I think you got to start him against Detroit. One of the easiest. Definitely got to start him against Detroit. You should probably start him on a week-to-week basis at this point, or always and forever. I'm trying to find the numbers though. Detroit Lions give up 24 fantasy points a game to the quarterback position, which is the worst in the NFL. So should be an easy game for Josh Allen. I probably will rank him as my QB1 this week.
Yeah, I think he's going to be my QB1 as well.
Do you think the Thursday night or Thursday game bites the Bills in the butt and they play flat, or do you think this is going to be a easy go about it for them?
I mean, maybe,
or for Josh Allen more specifically.
Usually Thanksgiving is a little like, how Thursday night football is always kind of gross.
Yeah.
Usually the Thanksgiving games are kind of different. Like they can be gross. There's a lot of gross games, but sometimes you'll see an offensive explosion. Just off the top of my head, I know I think 2 or 3 years ago, Deshaun Watson in the Houston Texans, he threw 4 touchdowns to Will Fuller.
Is that when you decided you were going to rip your pants off for Deshaun Watson? No pun intended.
Yeah, and then I ripped them right back on. After hearing about what he does to people with their pants off. But anyway,
he's like, I put my pants right back on.
Yeah. No. Against Detroit too, it's like this. Doesn't this just feel like a soft bounce back landing spot for Josh Allen?
Where he can after 3 tough games. I mean,
just go out and get 4 touchdowns.
I'm not gonna lie, as a Patriots fan, I would love Josh Allen to blow in this game so that next week it's in his head, and when the Pats play the Bills on Thursday night next week, we can beat them.
That's true. Is that game in Gillette on Thursday Night Football?
I think it's in Buffalo. But
look, yeah. Oh no, it is in Gillette.
Oh, okay.
So they have to be in Detroit for 2 weeks and then go to New England.
Low key, should I go to that game?
Well, go ahead. It's probably going to be 10 degrees out.
I noticed that Pats tickets are kind of cheaper than I thought they were going to be when I looked them up 2 days before the game. I might check that out and see if I can go.
You got to do it that day.
Yeah.
Or
the day of.
The night before.
All right, so then we have Devin Singletary and James Cook for the running back position for the Buffalo Bills. Devin Singletary has been a weird, odd commodity here. He's running back 21 on the season. These are his games in order from week 1 to 11. 8, 4, 24, 11, 5, 14, 9, 8, 15, and 17 in fantasy points and PPR.
Honestly, that's RB2.
Again, it's an RB2, low end. But at the running back position, you have the Detroit Lions giving up 21.6 points per game to the position. I feel like this is a good, and this is in Detroit. So I don't know that how much, I feel like the Bills are going to try to pass the frick out of the ball. But Devin Singletary is a good start this week if you need Devin Singletary to be a start.
Yeah, I think he's a good start. He's just you never know when he's gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like against Pittsburgh, that was a good matchup and he got 5 points.
Yeah, he pooped himself.
The Packers isn't the best matchup, but it's not a hard matchup either. He got 9 points. So I don't know. It's kind of tough, but against the Lions, dude, yeah. I feel like you got to start him, right?
Yeah, I feel like you got to start him, especially if there's bye weeks and stuff. You got to roll him out.
Unless you got 3 top 20 running backs already on your team, then maybe not.
And James Cook he's a decent pickup this week in terms of if he's still on your waiver wire and nobody picked him up, I'd go and snag him and add him to your roster. I think he's a decent pickup, but I'm not going to start him in a game until I've seen something productive from him.
Right.
So don't start James Cook, even though the matchup is good.
Yeah, I agree with that. He hasn't had a game yet this year with 10 points. So
at the wide receiver position, we have Stephon Diggs, who is the wide receiver 1 on the season, superstar. Had a tough week this past. His lowest target total of the season. That's going to change. Stephon Diggs was complaining to the offensive coordinator, to Josh Allen, to his mom about how many targets he got this week. So this should be a 16 target week for Stefan Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, he in the first half, it looked like he was I don't know, complaining, but and then he got a touchdown right after that. So
yeah,
it was kind of okay, but yeah, usually games where Diggs has a low target share, he usually the next week, like any great receiver, you look at Adams, Justin Jefferson, even Tyreek Hill, these guys, if they have a 5 or 6 target game, it's almost a lock that the next week they're going to get double-digit targets. Yeah. So that's going to happen with Diggs. He's a great player. I know, DFS lineups, it's going to be an expensive duo, but if you're going to play Josh Allen and Diggs, this might be the week to stack those guys up.
Yeah. This is his last easy game of the season, by the way. Matchups usually don't super matter, but in the 2 tougher matchups he's had on the season, he had 14 against the Jets, 14 against Miami. So this, I think, could be the last time on the season where Diggs puts up a massive.
Is Miami a tough matchup?
They are now.
That's interesting
with their cornerbacks back.
Well, I guess, yeah.
But, yeah, so Diggs is the wide receiver 1. Obviously, he's going to start. I like his matchup against Detroit, so I expect big things for Stefan Diggs this week. You also have Gabe Davis against Detroit. That is a good play. There could be, because of the amount of passing. I think this is going to be, like Rick said, a get-right game for Josh Allen, where they're going to try to get him to see things on the field a little bit better than he has. And I think if there's touchdowns being thrown by Josh Allen, if he throws 2-3 touchdowns in the game, Gabe Davis is going to be one of those guys that catches one. So I want to get him in my lineup. And then if you are deeper in your flex and you just don't have anyone to play and the waiver wire is kind of frail, I do like Isaiah McKenzie against Detroit as well. If he's playing. I don't know if I haven't heard anything about McKenzie in the last couple weeks.
Well, he hasn't had 10 fantasy points since week 4.
Oh man, I still don't mind it.
So, okay.
And like I said, deeper leagues.
Yeah. If you're in a really deep league and you're kind of desperate, it is a good matchup. So, it could be a week where he gets a touchdown.
Any other thoughts on these wide receivers?
No, I think Davis. I'm always iffy about him, but I think it's a good start against the Lions, and then obviously Diggs is Diggs. So
yeah. And then Dawson Knox in the last couple weeks, I've noticed a slight increase in production. He's been a little bit better.
It's Dawson Knox season.
Back, baby. Do you like him against Detroit?
I do. I mean, define though. I mean, I don't see him as a top 5 tight end option, even top 7.
Yeah.
So if you already have a solid tight end, you can plug and play him over Dawson Knox. But it's a good matchup. So, let's say you had Kyle Pitts, you dropped him. And you have Dawson Knox is an option for you. I think he's a very good start. I think I'd probably rank him as a top 12 guy this week, but he's around 12, I would assume, 10 to 12. But it's a good matchup, and he's been playing well recently. I think it is a good start for him. Low end tight end 1.
Okay, let's talk about the Detroit Lions, and we'll just say sit for everybody. Jared Goff, no.
Dude, he's still on a team in our.
Really?
Yeah.
What the frig?
You know who has him?
Who?
The guy I just made the trade with.
Oh.
He's been on his team since week
Wild.
4.
What is he doing?
And he 5 weeks ago, I was trying to get him Trevor Lawrence because he needed a quarterback, and he said he'd rather have Goff.
Have fun with that. He goes up against Buffalo. Jared Goff, obvious sit. Rick, for you just acquired DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams in that very trade you were talking about.
Yeah.
You got to make this decision. Going up against the Buffalo Bills, tough matchup. I honestly, knowing how Swift has played and knowing that Jamal Williams is getting as much work as he's gotten, I'm leaning towards sitting both of these young fellas.
Well, thankfully, I can do that if I want to right now.
Okay.
I might end up doing something where I have to play one of these guys.
Yep.
If I do that, I don't really know what to do. But yeah, right now I am sitting both guys.
Okay.
I think the way it is though, in positive game scripts, Jamal Williams has become a very good start because he's the goal line back.
Yeah.
So he's guaranteed to get you double-digit fantasy points. I mean, look at the last 4 weeks for Jamal Williams. 22, 10, 11, 24.
Mm-hmm.
Swift has played in 3 of those 4 games. So Jamal Williams is still putting up numbers. And then for Swift, like I actually think Swift might be the better option for this week, and I'll tell you because it's a negative game script.
So
and
you feel like he's going to get some pass catching work?
Yes, I think he could get some passing work. I think I don't really see a ton of chances where the Lions are controlling the clock and stuffing it up the middle with Jamal Williams.
They're going to try early.
But yeah, they are going to try early. I don't know, man. This is hard for me, but it feels like at this point you kind of have to start Jamal Williams, but the only problem is he has no receiving upside. He hasn't had a target since week 8.
If he just dies in the running game or doesn't score a touchdown, you're toast.
Right. I would rather go down with Swift.
I'd still go down with Swift, yeah. But like if you have the opportunity to not start either one of these guys this week, I would do it.
Or either it's tough because neither of us have done our rankings yet. But like, I don't know if are these guys top 20 running backs for this week.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
As far as the wide receiver position goes, there's really no one else at the wide receiver position that you would want to start outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mm-hmm. I would start him this week.
He's had so many injuries at wide receiver this year.
It's a tough matchup, but I think Amon-Ra has got to be a start. Oh, crap. You guys are going to get screwed if you sit. Yeah, Amon-Ra's got to be a start. He's going to get 10 times.
They got to throw the ball to somebody.
He'll probably catch 8 passes. Like, that already gives you a base floor. Like, you're good. Start Amon-Ra. And then they don't have a tight end. Brock Wright, if you really want to get sweaty.
If Josh Reynolds plays in this game, do you consider starting him? He's before he got hurt, he was doing really well.
No.
Yeah, and then DJ Chark came back last week.
Oh, good for him.
And he had 1 target.
Yeah, never mind. I was hoping Jameson Williams would be back soon. Sounds like he is coming back soon. I want to watch him play in a game, but I don't think.
I know. I was really hoping he'd play this week, but I don't think he's.
All right, so let's move to the second game. The over/under in that game, by the way, is 52 points. I'm assuming that they're going to say that the Lions score 20 and the Bills score 30.
That's a lot. That's a high.
So who wins the game quickly?
Bills.
Yeah, Bills easy. Game 2. We have the Giants at the Cowboys. So this is a huge divisional matchup. I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to freaking kick the crap out of the Giants in this game. But it is a big game because the Giants are in the division. And if they can somehow beat the Cowboys, I think they got their first place in the NFC East, right? No, the Eagles.
The Eagles.
The Eagles would be. So they would pass the Cowboys, though.
You would pass the Cowboys.
Big divisional matchup. I'm excited to see it. Let's break down the New York Giants first. If I could find their name. Give me 1 second.
Danny Dimes, the quarterback.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to pull up their depth chart so I could intelligently talk about the rest of their positions. Daniel Jones going up against Dallas. I liked him last week in a start. I do not like him this week against Dallas on Thursday football. The short week, the hard matchup. I'm going to sit Daniel Jones. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to sit him too. And there's some of the reasoning is we'll talk about soon, but it's also a really tough matchup for him. I mean, we saw what Dallas just did in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Their pass rush is elite. Micah Parsons is elite. Mm-hmm. That defense has been really, really good this year. So it's just a difficult matchup. I think he has a floor though because of his rushing. But I still would start him.
Okay. At the running back position, we got Shake and Bake, Saquon Barkley. I am mildly pissed off at the Giants this week. And if you watch the Giants game, you would have noticed that a guy that goes by the name of Matt Breida stole a touchdown away from Saquon Barkley. And I needed a monster game. I needed a saving grace game here. Because Barkley against Detroit, 5 fantasy points.
Yeah, that's really bad.
He had 15 rushes for 22 yards, and didn't score a touchdown, and didn't really get much receiving work, or he did target share wise. That was a bad game for Saquon Barkley. But Dallas is going to do some things to this team. I like you still have to start Saquon, but
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna get work. It is a really tough matchup, and I feel like the Cowboys are gonna just like
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of reverting back a little bit with the Giants to the point where like defenses are going to put their entire focus on Saquon Barkley,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to be kind of difficult for him. So I think he's going to have to make like one of those miracle runs where he just breaks 5 tackles and gets like a 50-yard run, which he's
Yeah.
very capable of doing. But there's not going to be a lot there for him. Maybe he could get a lot of receiving work. I think that's possible.
Yeah.
Some dump offs, especially with the group that they have right now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is a little concerning. But I mean, he's Saquon. You got to ride him.
Yep. That's what she said.
Okay.
Let's talk about the wide receiver position. I don't think there's anyone that I would want to start. Wandale's out for the season.
For his ACL.
Darius Slayton has some boom weeks sometimes, but not nearly enough to be like, okay, I want to get this guy out there. And then there's no one else on the team that even would be close to considering as a start.
Well,
go ahead.
right. So that right now, I think Slayton is the only guy that you can start, and it's because there's nobody else. Like last week, he had 10 targets. I think he's probably going to get that again against the Cowboys, but at the same time, it's not a good matchup. It's like he's going to be matched up with Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do you even really want to start Slayton? I mean,
no, not at all.
If you need to start him at your flex, I don't think it's the worst thing, but he's not somebody you're going out of your way to start. But he has been pretty good last couple of weeks, and he's going to demand the most targets because outside of him, dude, who like David Stills is he?
David Sills.
Yeah, like do you want to start him?
No, not at all. So, there's no tight end on the team. Daniel Bellinger gets some opportunity, but he's not anywhere close to being startable for fantasy football. So, no one at the tight end position. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Sure.
So the Giants have been really good defensively this year. This is why they have the record that they do. It's why they're in the position that they are in, and it's not going to be an easy game for Dak either. The Giants currently give up 14.9 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. Dak did just rip the drawers off the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, the Giants have had a good defense this year, but didn't they just lose one of their best corners? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not going to take that in because I can't remember. But Dak Prescott does have a tough matchup this week. And when Dak has a tough matchup, sometimes he sucks. So, and it's on Thursday. So I feel like it could go one of two ways. You're going to get like a 5-point game from Dak, or you're going to get like a 26-point game from Dak. It could really go in either direction. But he's a good quarterback. I think he's definitely like, you still got him in your top 10?
Yeah, he might be like 10th, but
yeah, so he's going to be a start for most teams.
Yeah.
Unless you have like Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott, like you're going to start
right.
Dak.
Well, yeah, if you have another quarterback, which you might,
you drafted Dak and Joe Burrow, and
I believe it. I can see it. But yeah,
you certainly didn't listen to us then.
Right. The Giants' defense is pretty good, but at this point, I think you're right. Though, if you have Dak, you're probably starting him no matter what, and he has been pretty good the last couple of weeks. So, I would say it's a decent start, but I don't know if he's getting like 40 fantasy points.
Okay. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, my fellas, my old favorite running back and my new favorite running back.
I have a question for you.
Gotta have
with these guys.
Watch the Cowboys. Go ahead.
How long is it going to last where they're both relevant?
Not very long. Zeke's going to lose this thing.
Okay.
I don't know how long they can continue giving. Like Zeke has like explosiveness, and to be honest with you, it's the NFL, Rick. They could go 50-50 for a while.
Yeah, but if they continue to go 50-50, I don't think they're going to be putting up the like last week. What they did was amazing, but if they have the same work again, against the Giants.
Yeah, Pollard's not catching 2 touchdown passes for more than 30 yards.
Right. And I don't think Zeke is getting 2 goal. Like, I mean, he might, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that the tough part, and I'll say this right now, like I want Pollard to take over the job, not just because I have him in multiple leagues, but because I think he's the better running back at this point.
yeah,
Right, more
I do
explosive,
too.
and I think Pollard will have work, especially in the passing game, because he pretty much has taken that. He'll have like 5 targets, 4 catches, 50 yards, something stupid like that. But he'll get like 10 rushes on the ground for like 25 yards or 30 yards or 40 yards or whatever it ends up being, and that'll be his day. And he'll move the ball inside the 20s, and in between the 20s, and then as soon as they get inside the 20-yard line, when they get to the red zone, Zeke's rolling out there. He's rolling out there to destroy and eat touchdowns. So I still think both of the and Chick-fil-A. I still think both of these guys are viable starts on a week-to-week basis. Like obviously if you have better options, like I would sit Pollard, but I think, and when you watch Dallas, I don't know if you watched a ton of Dallas Cowboys games this year, but when you watch Dallas, it's really like they give full drives to people. So they'll say like, Pollard, you get this drive, Zeke, you get this drive. There's really no like rhyme or reason to it. They're not like changing running backs out in the middle of drives.
So you just said though you would, if you have a better matchup, you could sit Pollard. So if you have Zeke and Pollard for some reason, you would start Zeke over Pollard?
Yeah, because I think they get into the red zone a lot, and I think Zeke would score touchdowns.
Okay.
Whereas Pollard has a higher upside to catch passes and to produce on the ground. But if he doesn't score a touchdown, then you could be in for like an 8, 9, 10 fantasy point day. Whereas,
but couldn't you say the same thing for Zeke?
No, I was going to say that Zeke could get 40 yards and score 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden you have a good day. So,
yeah,
I mean, like I'm willing to start both of them. It's a tough matchup, so it's like I'm not excited about it, but I'd start both. If you had to put a gun to my head and say choose, I would choose Zeke.
Okay, I would choose Pollard probably, but
okay. I mean, I hope you're right. So there's your running backs. Gallup is blown, so I don't really want to. Yep. I don't want to start or put him.
I have Gallup in a league in our main league, and he's kind of at the point where I know if I drop him, somebody's gonna pick him up, but he's at the same time, it's like he's kind of just wasting a roster spot at this point.
Right. And CD's obviously going to be in your lineup.
Yeah, CD Lamb, top 10 receiver.
Have you seen this speedster Cavante Turpin?
A little bit.
He's a punt returner. He doesn't really do anything else for their team, but he's freaking lightning fast when you punt return.
You know what I don't like is freaking Noah Brown.
Oh, he's freaking annoying.
Yeah, and I thought he would be completely irrelevant when Michael Gallup came back, but he is kind of irrelevant. But
I had CD last year, and it was really annoying because you have CD and Amari Cooper, and he would literally target the 4th wide receiver 7 times. It's like, Dak, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're paying these other guys money, and you're just dumping it off. Like, so annoying. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Dalton Schultz is their tight end. Dalton Schultz has been really, really good in recent weeks after starting the season kind of slowly.
It's really with Dak. Like, week 1, he had Dak. He had 13 points. Dak gets hurt. Dalton Schultz gets 1 point, and then he gets hurt. And then he comes back. Dak comes back, and he gets 9, 13, 17. And then this week he only had 5. But he had a red zone target that he dropped, or Dak overthrew him, I forget. And he was involved in the game plan. It was just Pollard and Zeke were scoring all the touchdowns.
Right. But I would start Schultz.
Would you start Schultz or Dawson Knox?
Why do you have that?
I don't have either. I just thought it was a good question.
I'd probably start Schultz.
I would start Schultz too.
Yeah. All right, and then I kind of already gave the bag away, but I think the Cowboys are going to win by 10 points.
I really want to say the Giants, but they don't have a receiver, so I'm going to have to go Cowboys. Even though it hurts my soul.
It's a 40-30.
I'm rooting for the Giants hard, though. Let's go Giants.
It's a 43.5 point over-under for that game. So there you go. Giants, Cowboys, Bills, Lions. We got 2 in the bag. 1 matchup to go. Our hometown heroes.
Have we talked about
I don't think we talked about the Patriots. Well, I don't
the
think we've talked about
Patriots?
the Patriots. I don't think we've talked
But
about
we're
the
about
Pats. We're about to. Game 3, Patriots at Vikings, Thursday night, the turducken game. Mac Jones better be eating a turkey leg at the end of the night, I swear.
We're actually going to talk about the Pats next week.
It'll be
Too.
Matt Judon.
Yeah, it would be. Well, unless Matt goes and throws 3 touchdowns against
So we
a
won't.
horrible Vikings, not horrible, but overrated Vikings team in defense.
We'll run through the Pats real quick because we will talk about them more in depth next week because of the Thursday night game that they have against the Buffalo Bills. Pretty good matchup there. But this game's 43-point over-under. I would think the Vikings score most of those points.
I was going to say, I might put the over on that one. I think the Patriots offense isn't good, but this is going to be a little bit higher score than people think. I think.
Yeah. All right, so we have at the quarterback position for the New England Patriots, who are the road team, Mac Jones, not a start in any fantasy format. If he had the numbers of Tua Tagovailoa, then maybe. But at this point, Mac Jones is not a start, and there's not much to be said about that.
No, he's not even in like a 2 quarterback league. He's fringe. He's on the fringe.
What did he have last week? Was it 50? What? How many points do you need?
He had 10 fantasy
quarter
points.
point for 25 yards, right? So you need 100 yards to get 1. No, I'm doing the math wrong.
Yeah, I don't even know what you said, but
yeah, he needs to score. The way he plays the game, he needs to score touchdowns in order to have
multiple
touchdowns in order to have good fantasy weeks. And the Patriots' whole offense has scored 6 touchdowns in 5 games, 4 or 7 games.
Yeah, he hasn't had a game yet where he's gotten more than 1 touchdown.
Yeah, so tough season for Mac Jones so far, but I stay away from him in fantasy. We got 2 running backs here. One that's kind of fallen off a cliff.
Okay,
he's just disappeared. Damian Harris, and then Ramondre Stevenson. The plus side of Damian Harris in the past has been the fact that he gets freaking every goal line carry in the history of ever, but they don't have a lot of those as of late. So Damian Harris, with the exception of a couple of big runs every once in a while, he doesn't really produce much for fantasy. And I'm going to say that he is definitely a sit in this game. Mondre, however, gets pass catching work. He gets freaking grinder work on the ground. He gets everything for the Patriots besides touchdowns, as does Damian Harris. So I think if I had to choose a running back in this game, I would go Ramondre. I think Ramondre is a okay start this week against Minnesota. The Patriots' identity should be running the football, and I think they'll try to do a lot of that in this game. So I like Ramondre Stevenson. If you're in a pinch and there's no waiver wire running backs, like Damian Harris could be a go, but just be aware that could be a total freaking disaster.
Here's my Homer hot take of the year.
Okay.
I like both guys.
Oh, boy.
I like both guys this week.
Minnesota does give up 21.6.
I was going to say, look what Pollard and Zeke just did to the Vikings. I think the Patriots can use that to their advantage and do something similar.
So Harris is Zeke and Ramondre is Tony?
Yeah.
Tony Pollard's going to catch 2 touchdown passes for 90 yards.
And last week, Stevenson actually was really bad on the ground, and it was Harris's first game in a couple weeks, and he was really good. He had 8 yards of carry.
Yep.
It was kind of explosive. I think he's going to do that again against Minnesota, and then I think you're going to get a goal line touchdown this week.
Okay.
I think the Patriots finally get a touchdown, even though they've only had 1 in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say they got a couple, maybe even a couple. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say they at least get 1 touchdown, and I'm gonna say it's Damian Harris on the goal line. And then Stevenson is going to be good because of, as you said, his pass catching. Mm-hmm. He's had at least 5 targets every week since week 6.
Wow.
5, 8, 7, 7, 6.
Way to go, Mac Jones. Just feed him.
Yep. So he's a PPR machine because of that. He's getting like 15 carries and 6 catches a week. Mm-hmm. That's a recipe for success in PPR. So he's a really good start, has a really good floor. And then Damian Harris is the riskier of the two. And I'm not saying to start him over anyone who's like really good, but I think could be a solid flex option this week.
Okay. Sounds good. At the wide receiver position, there is no one that is worth starting besides
Gosh, no.
Jacoby Myers.
Well, yeah. Myers, I actually, I think he's a good flex.
Yeah.
And I think he has a good game this week. But even Myers the last couple weeks has been kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
But I think the Patriots offense, I'm not saying they get 30 points this week, but I think they get more than 3. So
You think
a little bit of a bounce back. I'm thinking they get around 20 points this week.
Okay. All right.
So that's going to have some fantasy value. So I think Myers gets double-digit points. So take that with a grain of salt, whether that's like 10 or 11 points. So again, I think he's an okay flex as well, kind of like Damien Harris, but everybody else.
You're saying you don't want iron pants for hands catching the ball?
No, I don't.
In your starting lineup?
Nelson Aguilar?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Wide receiver position. And then Wild, like, I don't know what the Pats are doing. Like, if you actually watch them, I don't really understand the purpose of not getting Hunter Henry involved as much as they did last year. But coming into the year, I kind of felt like Hunter Henry was an okay value when he was getting drafted, in the 11th, 12th round?
Yep.
Dead wrong there. He's been completely worthless. Him and Jonnu are just a waste of space in terms of tight ends. So neither one of these guys I start. This is an offense that, like, unless you're a running back, or your name is Jacoby Myers, who gets like 10 targets, and like Rick said, even he hasn't been great. But outside of those guys, like, I really don't. There's nothing here to start for fantasy purposes. So next week should be fun.
I was out on Hunter Henry because there's more, I guess, target demand in that offense than there was last year, and he was also very touchdown dependent last year. So now this year he's not getting the touchdowns, and he's irrelevant because of that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings quickly. Kirk Cousins has been he's been a borderline edge week to week play, but I would kind of still rank him into the conversation of streamable. Like, he has a lot of really good games, but I just don't know if I can trust him on a week to week basis. I do have Kirk Cousins in a couple of redraft leagues. I had to pick him up off the waiver wire and start him because I had some quarterback problems, but and he's been fine, but I feel like he's definitely streamable. This week against New England, though, I would sit him down. I like prime time Kirk Cousins, 2-8, 1 million picks, 1 touchdown.
Yeah,
he blows in prime time. So look at what happened.
He's playing Bill Belichick.
I don't know if you want to consider 4:30 last week prime time, when there was 3 games going on and everyone was watching Kirk Cousins, but the dude vomited against the freaking Dallas Cowboys. Going up against New England, Matt Judon's going to get 3 sacks, and they are going to rip him apart.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is going to get hit like 1 million times, and he's going to throw it all over the place and make mistakes, and I don't like this matchup for him, so sit him.
And Christian Darrisaw, their starting left tackle, who has been phenomenal this year. PFF had him ranked as the number 1 offensive lineman in the league so far. Got injured early in that game,
and he's not going to be back.
And it showed how awful that offensive line was after that. The Cowboys had like 8 sacks, and I don't think he's going to play this week. He has a concussion.
Yeah.
So unless he can clear concussion protocol, which I don't think is going to happen, he's going to be out this week. So the offensive line is trash. The Patriots have an elite defense. I'm going nowhere near Kirk Cousins.
Dalvin Cook is the running back that you should be thinking about. He's kind of faded a little bit in the last 2 seasons. He went from like 2021 draft season being the number 2 running back off the board to now, like, I wouldn't even rank him in my top 10 at this point. He's been not great. So
hey, whoa. Don't be that mean, bro. Come on.
But I will say he's a start this week. Always got to start Dalvin Cook.
Bro, he's 13, 10, 26, 15, 25, 13, 23, and then this week 7.
What's he rank on the
But
season?
before that, he was top 10 running back before this week.
That's fine. That's what I said.
Okay. Well, no, you said you wouldn't rank him top 10.
I wouldn't rank him top 10. I rank him 11.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have said that. I was going to say, I'd probably have him like 8 or 9.
What do you think? I put him at like 15?
That's the way you were making it sound.
I'd rather have Miles Sanders. No.
Yeah, I mean, rest of season rankings, he's at 10, and I don't know if I would put him as anybody who's higher than him on that list. So
Yeah.
that seems about right. I would say like 9 or 10. But he's still pretty good, and like he's not the RB2 that he once was,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still an RB1 in I think fantasy, and
RB1 in our hearts.
and even last week he was good. It was just he didn't get any work, and then they took him out in the third quarter because they were losing by 30 points.
Yeah.
So he had 6 yards of carry before they
he's still good.
took him out of the game. So like he was still playing well, but
the Patriots are an interesting animal too because
that's kind of a scary matchup
on the season, right?
Uh-huh.
Patriots have given up the least amount of fantasy points to the running back position. Who have they played at the running back position that would scare you?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their schedule.
No one. I don't remember anyone.
They played the Lions. Jamal Williams
Swift was out.
Okay, Aaron Jones in Green Bay. And I think he actually ran pretty well in that game.
So the big
Chubb?
thing is that right now there's a couple of things going on for the New England Patriots, and luckily I'm a Patriots fan, so you get the inside information. Christian Barmore's out, and he is their entire run defense for the most part. They don't have any like linebackers really that can do anything.
Is Kyle Duggar still out?
And Kyle Duggar played last week. He almost had a pick
so
on Zach Wilson, so he's in. He's a what do they call it? He's like a prototype playmaking safety, so he'll be in the box crushing running backs. But I think this could be a better day for him than like if you just look at the statistics on the season, like the Patriots do. Like they've had the toughest run defense, and this is a good test for them because Dalvin Cook is a real running back.
I mean, they shut down the Jets run game last week.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Patriots and see if they can actually stop Dalvin Cook. But I don't feel as bad about this matchup against the Patriots as some people might. I like it for Dalvin Cook. But anyway, let's talk about the wide receivers. I am a little bit worried about Justin Jefferson. Patriots have, I think, a top 5 pass defense, believe it or not. They're going to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, obviously. But if primetime Kirk shows through and he blows, this could be one of Justin Jefferson's tough nights. I'm still starting him. I'm still going with that. But temper expectations on Thursday night for Justin Jefferson. For me, just quickly, Adam Thielen, I wouldn't start him against New England.
It kind of is a weird thing because usually when Jefferson has a bad game, again, we talked about this with Diggs, like he goes off the next week. Week 3, he had 4 fantasy points, and then the next week he had 31. And in that game, he had 6 targets and then 13. So, like, they typically will try to force feed him the ball after a bad week. And he's coming off a bad week. So you would expect him to force feed the ball. But at the same time, what does Bill Belichick do that everybody always talks about on defense?
He takes away their best asset.
Exactly. He'll take away your best player. So he's going to...
If you're Bill Belichick, put your Bill Belichick thinking cap on.
Yep.
Is Justin Jefferson or Dalvin Cook the Vikings' best asset? To Bill.
It's Jefferson, but...
Okay, all right.
But I think I
don't even think Bill saw Justin Jefferson on the play sheet because he's probably spent so much time watching Dalvin Cook salivating, being like, I love running backs.
Well, that's the thing. He probably looks at it like if we can shut down the run and make Kirk Cousins make a play, he's going to screw up.
Yeah.
So they could look at it like that. But in terms of just in a vacuum, Jefferson is their best offensive weapon.
All right, and then
but that is concerning. Obviously, you still start him though.
Adam Thielen's out though for you, right?
Probably has he been? I just want to quickly look at
some startable games. He's been
he's been up and down. I wouldn't start Thielen.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And then finally we have the rise of the Hawkster, and I love T.J. Hawkinson. They've been targeting him a lot. They obviously brought him in to do very specific things, but what I don't like is how far his
he did have an easy touchdown drop this week. Just saying.
Yeah, 2. No, it wasn't just 1. It was like 3, all in one drive. Trust me, I know all about it. I watched and I yelled 4 times.
It doesn't give him a good look to the people who are. Do you know there's a guy who I follow on Twitter who I'm in a dynasty league with, and he hates T.J. Hawkinson. It's like his least favorite player. Yeah. And every time Hawkinson does something, he's like, "Yeah, he's so overrated." Like on every play.
Really?
I just traded him away in a league, and he's like, "That was a great trade for you." It's like,
okay. Oh my god. But anyway, he gets the last since getting traded to the Minnesota Vikings, he's had 9, 10, and 9 targets. So I do feel like he's definitely going to be in the vicinity of 8, 9, or 10 targets in this game. The question is, does his efficiency improve in terms of yards per catch, which in the last 2 weeks have been 6.8. He's got last week it was 7 catches for 45 yards, disgusting. 5 catches for 34 yards last week, which is also disgusting. He puts up 10 points when he doesn't score a touchdown, and then if he does score a touchdown, it's a big week for a tight end. So he's got to be in your lineup. He's a top 5 tight end.
Yeah, he has to be in your lineup for sure. Are you worried that the Patriots defense is going to...
I do think that something is going to show through in this game. And I think the Patriots will focus on Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook in the game in terms of trying to stop them. And I
could
don't
open
think,
things up for the Hawk.
I don't think they have the personnel in the middle of the field in terms of linebackers to stop.
I would assume they might put Kyle Duggar on him in the passing game, but
they could. But I'd rather Duggar do other things. So
yeah,
we'll see. All right, give us a pick.
This is the hardest one. It's a coin flip for me. I'm gonna say the Patriots. I just don't believe in the Vikings.
Okay. All right. Well,
what about you?
I'm gonna take. Oh man, I'm gonna take the Pats.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the Pats. I'm excited about that.
Have faith in the path.
Yeah, I you know, who knows? I do think the big
This is a coin flip though.
The big thing for me in this game. Sorry, I lost my iPad, so I'm trying to get our audio system back. So while that's booting itself up, the iPad, so I can get my audio, the outro audio.
Right.
I will say for the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins really does vomit on himself in prime time, and I think the Pats will take advantage of that. The question for me is, can the Patriots score to at least keep up with them? Because I think a bad game for Minnesota is like 17 points. Can the Pats score 17 points?
I think they can.
That sounded reassuring.
Yeah, they can score 17.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. I think the Pats are going to win.
I do too, but it's really could go either way.
Sheesh, man. This outro sequence has been brutal. The outro music started playing, and then it just stopped. I was like, what
of course.
Crap? But anyway, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your Thanksgiving day. All the turkey, all the football. We'll talk to you later, guys.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.